Man.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Back again with another episode of From the Hip. I am Marcus, your Empowered King, reminding you to be empowered, stay empowered, and give empowerment. To my left,
Mr. Just My Thoughts himself, Darwin, you know the name.
and
Get that merch coming out soon.
yes, sir. Man, y'all already know, man. We always doing bigger and better things and just getting better as the process goes, man. So if y'all watched our last episode, EP7, we was just catching up with the squad. We was catching up with the team. But we were talking about how, like, the ability to change, it's not necessarily that you can't change and develop, but basically the person you were, it's always going to be in there and it's not going to change. And so I asked my man D before we left, I was like, yo, with everything that we got going on in society in America today, do you feel like America can change?
I want to say no.
Oh, Lord, he on set it. He on set it. And he on set it.
I don't, because I say no because of the premises of what it's built upon. When the foundation isn't right from the beginning, what you expect?
Man, that's crazy. Like, and I be thinking about it too, man. I be thinking about, like, with all the, the quote unquote police brutality, or with the quote unquote, politicians being corrupt, whatever the case may be, whatever what everyone puts out there, right? I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, there's always, people always tell us, like, oh man, just have a little bit of hope, man. Hope in humanity, hope in all this. And like, I ain't gonna lie, there'd be days where I'd be like, I don't know, man. For one of the reasons, what you just said, it wasn't built for that. It wasn't built for that.
It wasn't right.
Yeah.
But at the same, you can have hope for humanity, but the world still, like, you gotta recognize just what we live in. Like,
right.
The system as a whole. That's why I always say you can't be focused on trying to change the world collectively. You can only change your world. So in the grounds on which you operate, the people that you come across, your surroundings, your environment, and then that can prosper into. But like, this is just the existence of the world until God say otherwise. If you leave it in the hands of the people, look at you know what I'm saying? So
then, like, because I know, like, there's a lot of people out here, right, in which we, like, right, we know what the problem is, right? We know, kids getting shot in the streets for no reason. We know that the people that deserve the money ain't getting the money that they deserve, type of thing. What would you say? Because, like you said, like, if you look at it collectively, ain't nothing you can do. But you look at your world. So how do you, D, correct your world to make everything a little bit better? Like, what is your premise?
Really just focus on the things that I can focus on, and the things that I can't worry about that. So, it's just like if I say I want a peaceful environment, right? It's up to me to dictate that. So I can't say I want a peaceful environment, but I'm accepting everything toxic around me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And in order for me to do that, I have to necessarily gotta change certain things. That means you gotta change yourself first. And then you start changing everything else around you. So whatever it is your goal is, like, anything, whenever I set a goal or something, and it's like, if I may face roadblocks, if you get in my way, I'm going through you. Yeah. But I'm sticking
still there
to what it is. But I can't say, oh, I want to do something, and then I do everything opposite of what it is. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you say to the people, and I don't want to necessarily call them like conspiracy theorists or anything like that, but what do you say to the people that are like, yo, you have been kind of like designed to fail. Like, the system that you in is designed to fail. So, like, for example, they'll tell us, of course, go to school, get a good job, and the whole nine, and they won't tell you the backstory of, like, okay, when you go to school, as far as high school, going into the high school's preparing you for college, in which in college, they want you to take out all these loans, get into all this debt. And once you get into all this debt, we want you to work a good job so you can pay us all back. And then that way, at the end of your life, you basically just kept a business running, if you will. Like, you just kind of kept this battery up. What do you say? Like, what do you say to those people that are just in that type of belief system? Or is there, no, as a matter of fact, this is better. Do you feel like there is really a way out of that?
The way, like with everything now, right? The difference between now and then is the world of information is at our fingertips.
Right.
So I think the way that it was explained to us in that context,
Yeah.
now that we're older and we have knowledge of how it really is,
Mm-hmm.
it's your choice to take that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of running with the same narrative as you got older, because when you tell a kid that, a kid is going to trust that because they don't know no better. But once you know better, and you got the opportunity and the power and control to kind of change that narrative. Steve Harvey said it the best. He was like, when he went to his school or to go talk to these kids at the school, he was telling the kids like, college ain't for everybody. School ain't, and he was like, these schools is talking about college and everything but these kids' passion. Everything but what they're important, you know, what's important to them. And the fact that they can take something that they're passionate about and make a life-changing decision. But we're so too busy telling them about the structural way in which we sing, like that doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
And even the ones that went down that road, again, it's those underneath stories, those obstacles. You know, when people think you had overnight success, they not knowing.
To them, it's overnight.
Yeah, but they don't know about the 10, 15 plus years of you putting in that work. Now, however you communicate that to them, to let them know, like, nah, I had to do this, and that, and give them that knowledge of this is a possibility when you're going through this road, instead of being like, yeah, I just did this, and that. And to encourage them, because it's one thing, like, to encourage them, but then when you are encouraging, which is one thing I think that crippled us, when they broke down the grounds of, you know, you get older, you go to school, you get a job, you have a family, everything in between that, they explained it to us like this.
They from here to there.
They didn't explain it to us like that.
All that.
So then when we go in and we hit this and we start asking questions, then it's kind of like,
suck it up, figure it out.
Yeah. And but times is different now. We got the information
out there.
Yeah. And so it's like you can't still run with the same narrative. Like,
man,
you have a different example.
Right.
I think once you do that, that's where the responsibility lies. So you can't really run with the same narrative once you are educated on those things, and that's the key, because a lot of times people don't know.
So then, in your opinion, do you believe that there is a way to quote unquote beat the system?
Nah, I think the only reason that the system works is because it's a system.
Okay.
You
so even though the system doesn't work for some people, you're saying that there's real no way to beat that system?
Other than figure out your lane. But sometimes regardless, you still got to travel down that same road. It's just your options. It depends on how you go. Regardless of whether you go that traditional route or your route, there's certain things that you still... they still lead to the same thing, but it's more of it's a system that works for some. It's just the details that when they was protesting, I want to say for the George Floyd thing.
Right.
I remember I was watching one in LA, and you know they was letting them do their thing. They set the curfew and all that stuff. But on the back end, while this group of protesters doing their thing, you see the police coming. Like you see, and that I realized, I was like, yo, they not doing nothing clever. They not doing nothing smart. I said, the only difference between them and the people right here, they had a system. That's the reason what they did worked. Right. Compared to people just impulse, we just gonna be right here and so no, y'all didn't have a plan. They had a plan. And even though it was nothing special about their plan. It wasn't clever, it's just that they had a plan. That's the same thing I see with this government and just the system. It's a system. Whether it's stupid, whether it makes sense,
good, bad, or indifferent.
Because they not clever, like they not pulling the war. It's like you seeing what they're doing.
You see exactly what it is.
But the fact is, it's a plan. It's a well thought out study. You just kind of going off the cuff. You know what I'm saying? When you go off the cuff, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna make a bad decision because you don't even have a calculated.
I like the way you put on that. I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
So, and that's the thing. You got to have a plan. The result, you might tell somebody, I want to be this, and that. It might sound ridiculous. What's the plan? Okay, the plan is this, and that. Okay, I can see that. Instead of you just being like, oh, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. Okay, how are you going to motivate? Well, I'm just going to go and talk to people. What are you going to talk to people about? These kids staying in school. How do you know they want to hear that? Like, you got to know
Have you been through that?
Right.
Have you dealt with that? Yeah.
Yeah. And so everybody saw this textbook mess, and it makes it like say it may work for some, but it's a fine print. They're not really breaking it down.
I totally agree. Like no matter, like I feel like this, like it's the same thing that you're saying. Like I'm just gonna piggyback off it, which is like, no matter what you do, there's no such thing as actually beating the system, because in the midst of it, you're going to be in a system regardless. So if you like, so there's this system and you're like, yo, I want to beat the system, then you are in a system that's trying to beat another system.
Yeah, there's rules to that.
Yeah, rules it is. Like no matter what, this whole world works on the system. And
I think like once you're not to cut you off, but once you recognize that you have options.
Options to be able to do that. That's the awareness of
it. The awareness that you have. Oh, I could have wanted this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think what got me was that when I started, and this had to do with basketball, right? When I really started watching, for the life of me, I could not understand why the Spurs were in the playoffs almost every flipping year and winning the amount of championships they were winning, right? And I finally actually had a chance to like listen to Greg Popovich. I was listening to one of his interviews or something like that, and he was just going off the emphasis like, yo, we have a system in place in which that works, and we do it consistently. We barely change. If it's any type of change, it's probably the player in itself. Like, he don't fit our system, so we kick him out. And so that kind of showed me there. And then even if you look at like Phil Jackson and the way how he runs his squad, it's a perfect system in which it's like, yo, whatever these players fit into, they fit into the mold. It's not that we try to fit our mold to them. It's like, no, they got to fit in our system. So when they was winning, what was it? When y'all had Kobe, Shaq, even Malone before he even got injured, y'all had Robert Horry at the time. Who else was on that squad? Rick Fox. 04. There you go. A bad freaking team. Like that was probably one of the best NBA teams I feel like to date was just bad. Because y'all wasn't 3 back-to-back?
We just did the 3-peat.
Yeah,
I knocked out a playoff the year before. It was back to the finals.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I was like, yo, that was flipping beautiful because and someone was talking about it. It's like, yo, it wasn't just because of the players or because of the general manager. It's because our scouting report was phenomenal that year.
But that particular team, I'm gonna disagree with you.
Really? Okay, go for it.
Because that particular year when they lost to the Pistons, it changed my whole idea of everything because of the system and the players. There's a reason. Now, on any given day, if you be like, take Gary Payton and Derek Fisher, with your eyes closed and your back turned, people are gonna take Gary Payton.
Gary Payton.
But there's a reason the Lakers was able to win 5 championships with Derek Fisher at the point.
Yes.
Gary Payton. Derek Fisher fit the system.
Yes, sir.
Gary Payton looked good on paper.
Yeah.
Karl Malone looked good on paper.
Yeah.
They didn't fit the system.
Didn't fit the system.
And that's why it looked good every now and again. It was more just team chemistry.
Yeah.
But the Lakers team now, tell them, boy, even last season, I said the reason they have the edge. The reason why when I look at the team and I say it so confidently Lakers is winning is because they got the right players for the right system.
Right.
Everybody fit in. They not just bringing in
it's
like
Yeah.
Brooklyn. They're not bringing in 30.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, wait, how does this place got to fit?
Y'all chemistry different. Like, who's gonna take the ball at the end? Like,
that's the system in which is built.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But even again, on paper, Detroit wasn't supposed to beat the Lakers
at all.
But if you look at the system, Detroit had a team
that was just
that fit
the whole 9.
Lakers just look good on paper, but it was a certain disconnect.
Yeah,
because it wasn't the right player for what.
Yeah.
They had.
So getting back on top. Sorry, we can talk basketball all the time. No, we good. But no, but that's when I started learning that like unless you have a system in place, nothing actually works. Like, or I won't say it won't work. It just won't work it won't be longevity. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what a lot of us in the Black community specifically are really missing is that we have yet to it's been a long time. So like if you think back to the Panthers, you think back to even Malcolm X, you think to even Martin Luther King. A lot of the things that they did, there was actually a system in place in which they had a person that's like, hey, I want to be a part of the movement. They walk them through the steps and boom, here we are, right? I feel like in my generation, I have not seen that in a long time. There are motivational speakers out there, great. You know what I'm saying? They're pushing the movement as far as like motivating or being like a guru or whatever the case may be. But I have yet to see like something in which people of like the Black community can be a part of and actually grow with and say like, okay, we have our own schools, we have our own, and maybe this is just me for not really researching the knowledge, schools, housing, different like community activities, like that whole nine. I have yet to see that type of vigor, grit when it comes to like the Black community.
Why do you think that is?
Man, to be honest with you, and this is where I was saying before, right? As far as like beating the system, a part of me feels like anyone that has tried to raise to that point has either been quote unquote bought out or sold out. That's just a personal feeling. Mm-hmm. And then two, it's like we forgot what it was like. So we like just the knowledge piece of it. We forgot how to do it. So for instance, protesting was big back then, right? We protest now, but we forgot what their intent was in the protest. Their protest was like go from protesting to get to the actual table or get to the judge, whatever the case is. Like the purpose of the intent was to not just make a scene.
To make a noise.
Yeah, just making a scene. Like we wasn't just trying to burn down buildings for the sake of burning down buildings. Right. We were actually trying to send a message and try to get our people to focus on like, yo, let's join together and let's go ahead and fight this problem or situation. Now I'm like, it's an Instagram feed like, yo, I'm out here, man. I don't threw a brick through this window, bro, because I'm upset.
Right. Well, I don't even know why I'm out here.
Yeah, I don't even know why I'm out here. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we forgot that whole piece of like what the intent was and where we were trying to go. And I think that's just because of the natural distractions. There's so many different people that are influencers. You don't even know what to really believe anymore at this point. So that's what I'm thinking.
But do you think it's... Because I think now we react more off of emotion and not knowledge. We take a little bit of information and we run with it and react emotionally.
I would say that, but honestly, like if you even think back then, like as far as again, the Black Panthers, Malcolm X, you go all the way back there in time, they went off of emotion too. The reason why they weren't able to be the outlandish emotion is just because it was a lot more restricted back then. You're more or less to be able to take a bullet for saying something to a cop versus now. Now, some people can get away with saying like, F you cop, and then just like go all about their business.
I don't think so.
I'm saying like,
I don't think so.
If you really look at it.
But I mean, back then, yes, the emotion was the motivation.
Yeah, to do something. Mm-hmm.
It was the push that created the idea. Now, it's not like that.
Yeah, I agree to that. Like I said, like the emotion now is more so.
I think we're just more reactive.
Entitled.
That.
Yeah.
But even if that's the case, even once you set out for action, there has to be a plan.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we don't have that.
So you're saying back then they had a plan. Okay, I see
it was
what you're
the when it came to the point of action.
You're saying just emotion.
Yeah, and that's what I go back when I realized when in LA when they was protesting, the people were out there protesting. But then you see the counterpart forming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when they sat out there, it was a plan. Mm-hmm. We go on this perimeter. When we get to this destination, we're gonna face it this
right
way.
Here, this section there.
Yeah, compared to this is going on and we out there. Cause I'm like, even when I was watching the protest, I'm like, these people are out here to execute a mission, and y'all sitting there trying to reason. So it's kind of like when y'all put this together, was it F this, we upset, let's just fight the system. Yeah. That's all it really is. Yeah. Back then, it was, same emotion, we upset, but we're going to march. We're going to march together. We're going to march from here to here. If we don't get this is what's plan B.
Yeah. So
plan
B
didn't want. This was plan when the Panthers sit there and went to the state capitol with their guns. They didn't just go out there with guns. They researched the laws. They realized so when they was met with hostility or with the law, they hit them with the law. Oh, y'all can't be out here. Well, according to the code,
section B245, I have a right to do that.
When they dropped that knowledge on them, they couldn't do nothing. Compared to now, we just
didn't even do the research.
Yeah, so it's kind of like what results are we getting?
Dang.
Who's thinking? Nobody's thinking. That's the problem. Nobody's thinking. The reason people keep, again, cause and effect.
Right.
The reason people are reacting this way because we're tired of it. But at some point, like, honestly, they don't care.
Yeah.
It was, let's put the cameras on it. We saying it more than
Yeah.
So, but at what point do you be like, okay, this is what we fighting against, how we going to approach that? Instead of it just being like, yo, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of this too. Let's go, boom, because they coming with firepower. We out there with demanding to be listened to when they not there to listen to us, but nobody's thinking. No, everybody's just acting off emotion.
Right. So how do we start getting back to that type of thinking?
I don't.
You know what? Hold on, real quick. Before I let you finish that, y'all got to see the next episode before we get back to that. I'm saying I got to put something on right before we get to that. But no, thank y'all so much for listening to this From the Hip episode, y'all. Y'all can catch us on IG. You can find me at IM_the_empowered_king. And to my left,
this is Mr. Just My Thoughts himself, JST, My Thoughts 83.
Man, y'all already know what it is. We'll see y'all next time, all right? Peace.